Hi, welcome back. Donald Trump Jr. is now fully embroiled in his father's Russia scandal. Today, he tweeted out an email exchange from the election campaign last year that said Russia was willing to give him dirt on Hillary Clinton. The New York Times first reported this, but then he released it. A publicist looking to connect Trump Jr. to a Russian lawyer wrote the following: "This is obviously very high level and sensitive information, but it is part of Russia and its government's support for Mr. Trump, and Trump Jr. apparently welcomed the information, saying, quote, 'If it's what you say, I love it.' How damaging is this email chain, and why did Donald Trump Jr. voluntarily release these emails?" Joining me now in Washington is former U.S. federal prosecutor John Flannery. Nice to see you.
Nice to be with you.
So when you read this email chain, how did you react? What did you think?
This guy, we're so lucky this guy is a dumb liar, because otherwise we wouldn't have the breaks that we have. I can't imagine he's taking any legal counsel at all. This is a chain of emails that removes any question that these were official documents by they describe it as the Crown Prosecutor, but it's something more like our Attorney General. So like the chief law enforcement officer in Russia has official documents that are ultra sensitive that he wants to give them, and it incriminates Hillary Clinton, and both it's from Russia and it's reflecting Russia's support of Mr. Trump. Now, if that doesn't put you on notice that this is a really difficult thing to be doing, especially when we already have rumors about wiretaps going on and seizures of information as we did in May. So, and he sets up a meeting. And then there was some talk in the first iteration of what he believed was going on about, oh, we're just talking and we didn't know what it was going to be about, and we thought it was about adoption. I mean, these emails remove any question that it was not about that. They know what they were doing. And in the email that he copies to the campaign manager and his brother-in-law,
Jared Kushner, yeah,
the subject line, it says, it has 3 words, well, it's 4 words: Russia, Clinton, private, and confidential. It doesn't say adoption. Nowhere is there adoption. It does say Russia.
Yeah.
So it's not coming from the domestic opposition research that he says. And this guy is a beauty, because if you look at the statement that he puts with it, he says he's being totally transparent. Well, yeah, not. And then he describes as political opposition research what the emails that he's now circulating say is ultra sensitive. And one of the interesting questions about this does Rona get this information afterwards?
Right.
Because the emails suggest that they might give it to Rona, who is sort of like the traffic cop for, and I mean this in an administrative sense, for Mr. Trump. And also, by the way, Mr. Trump was in the building when we're told repeatedly, as he deep sixes his own son, that I didn't attend the meeting. This is not a guy you want on your team.
Before you answer all my questions without me even asking them, which I appreciate you doing it. I appreciate you doing it. The fact that that Donald Trump Jr. says he didn't get the information, and the fact that we don't know if anyone got the information, does that make it less of a concern? That maybe the information didn't happen, maybe that transfer didn't happen?
Well, I think you and I are more likely to levitate in our 2 national locations presently than that to be true. I believe that they not only got the information, they may have had signals before this tete-a-tete in which they're setting up the meeting that they had. And a month later, we have the nominee of the Republican Party telling the nation, hey, Russia, send us those 20,000 emails that you have. Let it all hang out. And then there's so many data points of meetings in which 2 things are happening. The Russians are interested in sanctions, and these guys are interested in getting elected, and there have been signals since Mr. Trump has occupied the West Wing about easing off on the sanctions that would concern them and are the obvious quid pro quo of this relationship.
So what is, if you're the federal prosecutor on this case, say, what are you looking at? Like, what is the part of this that is potentially illegal or something that you would want to investigate further?
Let me count the ways. First of all, the way a federal prosecutor would do this, and I am a recovering federal prosecutor, the Section 371 of Title 18 United States Code is conspiracy. So every subpoena that goes out says that on it. But the other crimes they're investigating are things like, obstruction of justice. Did we fire Comey to obstruct the entire investigation? Did we fire Barrara in New York, the U.S. attorney there, because he was investigating a whole series of Russian corruption and misconduct, and he was replaced, and there's been a deal in place since then. Then there are the other, was there interfering in an election? Did they accept information from a foreign government in such a way they were put on notice? Certainly these emails suggested that they shouldn't have been using. There are false statements. There are, they are the beneficiary, if these are the leaks, of illegal intercepts. So like I said, let me count the ways. There are many other ways and others that will come out, and several of them have probably made false statements, and the fact that they corrected could either be an admission or it could be an ameliorative factor at sentencing for the false statements that they made, when by omission they left out these questionable meetings they had in which they had discussions with the Russian ambassador and others.
So what would Mueller be doing right now? What would his office be doing? Maybe he has all this stuff already, but what would he be doing anyway?
Well, the one thing I don't think he has, and I would have, I was spoiled in the Southern District of New York, Manhattan and points north of New York City. We conducted investigative grand jury matters. In other words, we would issue subpoenas, bring people in, and question them. I would have Trump Jr. in my grand jury today with a subpoena, and I'd be asking them every conceivable question about this. The other person I think would be weak and that I would target if I were in charge of the investigation would be Kushner. I'd have him before the grand jury asking everything. These two are the soft people. Manafort, I think, would be more complicated, and maybe Page and some others. Flynn, I think I already have. And there have been rumors that he's cooperating. I'm not sure of that. And a lot of the documents that he has been subpoenaed. And we know from the federal prosecutor's office in Alexandria, Virginia, that they have subpoenaed some documents. Those haven't been made available to us yet. And the Hill is talking about interviewing these people as well. So what would I do? I'd interview. Some people wait until the end of the investigation and call these people in. I would love to get Trump Jr. under oath talking about all this stuff, because he would hang himself and he would reveal a lot of stuff. How do you handle these people? When they admit to something against their interest, that's reliable. When they give you their cover-up stories like the cover statement that accompany these emails, you ignore it.
Mr. Flannery, I could talk to you for a long time, so I hope you'll come back, because this story's not over, as you know, sir.
I would enjoy coming back.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
More than